Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our second episode ever. Well, not the second episode of the podcast. It's the second episode of our kaiju arc that we're doing on our podcast, where we go through a series of movies in which a giant creature of nondescript origin terrorizes the surrounding areas.
It's a very loose definition.
Yeah, well, genres, what are they? They don't exist anymore. Yes, as you could hear, I am joined by my beautiful co-host. People have definitely busted a nut to him. It's Daniel, of course.
And I am, of course, joined, as you've heard, by my beautiful co-host. He also gets bigger when he's drunk. It's Steven.
Oh, God.
Today, we are continuing the Kaiju Extravaganza, or as Steven has so delightfully named it, Kaiju.
Kaijun! Yeah, did I come up with that?
Yes. Well,
I did.
You sent me something where Kaijun was one of the hashtags, so I'm assuming you made it. It was pretty good. I like that. And our second movie, our first movie was Return of Godzilla from 1984, and today we're doing a parody of Godzilla from 2020 called Notzilla. Steven hates me for picking this movie.
I feel like your rights, like at least at a European level, should be revoked. I feel like you should be kicked out of the Schengen space, is what I'm saying.
Just me, not
just you.
Not the rest of the country.
Wherever you go, Schengen space is no longer a thing.
I just have a hula hoop around me that is like no longer a Schengen space.
Hazmat suit.
Yeah, so I picked this movie without actually knowing what it was. I knew it was a parody movie. I knew it was from 2020. I'd seen a trailer, I think.
And you think? Are you not sure?
Yo, I did see a trailer because I showed you the trailer.
I didn't watch it because I trusted you, Daniel.
That's your fault then.
It is my fault for trusting
you. Agreed to this. So yeah, it is Notzilla from 2020, written and directed by Mitch Teamley. I have no fucking idea who that is. And yeah, it is a very low budget parody movie of Godzilla.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Fucking Iron Sky, this ain't.
I mean, obviously not. This thing was made for like $5 and a stick of gum.
Well, Iron Sky is not it's a low budget movie.
Yeah, but this is lower.
This is lower. But, because it's also a parody style movie, I would say. Right. Something like Iron Sky, like it contains, Nazis on the moon and Sarah Palin as the president and crass jokes and that
Hitler
kind of
riding
thing.
a dinosaur.
That's the sequel.
That's the sequel, but still.
I think, it's obviously not something that you're supposed to take seriously, but the production value was so spectacularly high for a low budget movie. I think made in Finland. So
might have been, yeah.
It impressed on that note, and you could take the jokes, in stride, kind of, because of how good everything else was. Whereas everything is so distracting because everybody's just sitting in front of the same green screen in every shot, or in front of Tupperware, and they're delivering terrible jokes in every single scene, and nobody's taking anything seriously. The plot is literally nonsense. There's like some weird racial stereotyping going on.
Yeah.
The baby's guide to liberalism with stupid feminism jokes.
This movie struck a nerve, Steven.
I bet you Joe Biden loves this movie.
I mean, that's not a question I ever thought I would have to contemplate, but sure.
This, I wrote to you, Daniel, while I watched it. This felt like a fucking Dog Walker sketch.
Yeah.
Like, if Dog Walker was reviewing, like, the latest Godzilla movie, this feels like what he would have done because he has nothing to say about the movie.
Although I do feel
Did these people watch even Godzilla movies when they made this? Because it doesn't feel like they did.
Okay, it's a very surface level parody.
They even make the basic mistake of calling it a dinosaur, which fucking Toho wrote in their stupid Bible about Godzilla that specifically he's not a dinosaur.
Right.
Even I know that, and I've seen like 2 of them.
But it is very like, so the story of this movie is the Japanese forces have destroyed a giant monster, and a young paleontologist named Ichiro Honda,
which is a reference
to saves an egg and runs off to Ohio, because Ohio means hello in Japanese. Again, racial stereotyping. And the egg hatches, and it turns out that it gets bigger if it gets alcohol. And there's some scientists involved and stuff. Anyway, soon we have big Notzilla, because it's not Godzilla. And the military gets involved, and they stop it by shrinking it.
No, go on, Daniel.
That's basically it. What do you want? That's it.
No, it's your favorite movie now, so you
No, it
you
isn't.
can
It is very much isn't.
Explain to us
That's
why
still Aquaman.
Why did you pick this? Oh God, damn.
Why I picked this movie? Because okay, I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, okay, we're doing an actual Godzilla movie. Well, originally we were talking about doing the first Godzilla movie, but then we changed it to Return of Godzilla. And then I looked at this and I was like, oh, it could be fun to see, one, how does a low-budget film actually do Godzilla level special effects? I mean, not modern Godzilla, but at least like 80s Godzilla effects. Shocker, not very well. And two, a parody. I thought it would be interesting to see, like, okay, how can you do a parody of Godzilla? Because he is kind of weird, you know.
So here's the thing:
he's a giant lizard.
When you proposed this, the reason why I didn't look into it, the reason why I didn't investigate it and child-proofed it, was because I thought this was a Japanese parody. I sincerely 100% thought that. These people have no right to make this. They have no
this is
idea.
An American parody.
Yeah, like I thought that this was going to be an
American
over-the-top Japanese movie.
Yeah, like Hausu or One Cut. Well, not One Cut of. Yeah, One Cut of the Dead.
Yeah, like
that would be
just
cool.
Just an over-the-top, with a lot of references to Japanese stuff, and
right.
And instead, it's
you
this.
Could have like an Ultraman fight him at the end or something like that.
Like there are so many decisions in this movie that have nothing to do with Godzilla.
Yeah, that makes it seem more like just any other American parody film.
This is worse than like the fucking epic movie crowd.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Hey, a lot of people shit on those, and I get it because the jokes are terrible. But
right
in certain scenes, I think that they worked hard to match like effects and shots from the movies that they were parodying.
Right.
Whereas
I think sometimes they do that here, but
no, they
not to the like proper extent.
Give me an example.
Anything involving the giant monster.
They're too bright. Like
like they're too bright, and the special effects is not very good. But they at least have given an effort to make him look like older Godzilla with the big eyes and the weird sort of scaliness to him. They've of course given him more of like a dude bro attitude because he's drunk. I like when they have him involved with miniatures, and they do what I think is a pretty fun little thing where it's like he will pick up what is obviously a small toy soldier, and then they will cut to an actual human being handled by really kind of poor effects.
Fair enough.
But it's like a fun way of incorporating, this is miniatures. We all know it's miniatures. We all know this is kind of dumb. Where I feel like this thing really tangs is the human characters and all their jokes. That is really bad.
I think some of them try. I mean, they all try. I don't think the actors are really at fault. I think a lot of it falls. No,
I don't think the actors are at fault, because I do actually think they do an okay job with what they're giving. I just think the writing is really bad.
Yeah. I like the Tiffany Wingfield as the scientist Shirley.
Shirley, you just.
Oh God.
I have the actors and character names written down here, and every time I look at them, I'm just like, yeah.
Cheryl Yu just is like the plucky young scientist who wants to make it big and has a lot of great ideas, and obviously is the actual brains behind the operation at this research facility. But it's, the dynamic is that she is somewhat.
She's the assistant to Dr. Richard Blowhard, who is a blowhard, and yeah, so that's the joke.
So the actor who plays Richard Blowhard, Tim Bench. Yeah, sure. So his performance, he's basically acting the way Ben Shapiro feels on the inside.
Oh, you're right. You're totally right.
This is what Ben Shapiro goes to sleep to every night, and
he has what he thinks he is.
Yeah. He has his little fantasy in his brain where all his shill politicians applaud him, and he says stupid things in a stupid voice, like I just got it, and then everybody's like, oh wow, that's really cool. Okay.
He kind of reminded me of a character from Starship Troopers.
Oh right. But the problem is it's so like he's in so much of the movie,
right?
That is like 5 minutes in, you're like, this isn't gonna be the whole thing, is it?
And like, then had it only been like a couple of scenes, and then you just throw him off for like, and then he comes back for like a gag, then it'd been like, okay, fine. But as much as we get him, no, it's too much.
It's too much because keep in mind that on top of everybody else is already too much, this guy's like extra annoying. Well, because I feel kind of bad for the actor because like he's supposed to be an annoying dickbag, right?
Yeah, and he does a good job
sexist, and like he's supposed to be like a play on people from the whatever time this takes place in the 20s. Right? Isn't it supposed to take place?
No, I think it's supposed to be like the 70s, 80s?
The 19th century. No, like somewhere in that whatever 40-20 period. So he's supposed to be a play on, people from back in the day. Men would like, have a easy go at life without really putting that much effort into it, and still want to be, prompt up as the hero and stuff like that. And he's supposed to be a play on that, against the Shirley sort of more actual merit-based, potential. But it's so annoying. He's so annoying. He is unbearable.
So I have a question to you about the dynamic between Shirley and Richard. I'm not going to do their last names because fuck that. And that is
Mrs. Ugest and Mr. Blowhard?
Right. Just the handling of Shirley's character overall in the movie. Did you find it just a little bit sexist?
Well, like, of course it's sexist.
Like,
but
I know I think like there are parts of it that are supposed to be read as that. Specifically, all her interactions with Richard Blowhard, because again, he is a blowhard. But it was just, I just felt like it crossed over into also being in where she's actually going to be taken seriously and in like her entire character arc.
Well, of course, because like I said, this is like baby's feminism, and liberalism.
Right.
Well, I understand. Women nowadays they get their due. They work just as hard as the men, and that's okay now. then they just leave it at that. But they don't think about the more like abstract ideas, like why does she have to have an arc then where she's defined mostly by her relationship with another man?
Right. That was the one I was.
She is just falling over heels about this guy that she doesn't know anything about. That's Ishiro Honda, played by Frederick Ng Lee,
who is a nothing character at best and a horrible stereotype at worst.
Well, yeah,
multiple horrible stereotypes, I will add.
And so Shirley, like, you could have just cut out Ishiro Honda entirely. Yeah. Like, he doesn't do anything in the story. You could have just have Shirley wanting to run the nuclear project that she works at. And then that would just be it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, you could have just cut on the budget by just removing half of the cast. because they don't do anything.
No, they're just there. Specifically, the military characters. You just cut to them, and then they just.
Whenever when they introduced that, I'm like, oh God, no.
Do you want to hear some fun trivia about this movie?
Not really, but go ahead.
Okay. The cast originally included both George Takei and Patrick Warburton.
Well, I mean, Patrick Warburton is really funny, and George Takei as well. They could have added something to it, but I imagine they were too expensive.
Probably, yeah.
They would have had to only have. We need to cut one of the green screens.
We need to cut our monster, but that's the main point. Damn it!
No, don't worry. We'll add it in post. It's gonna be Patrick Warburton in the suit.
What if it was Patrick Warburton in the suit? That was his contribution to the movie.
Can you imagine like a Godzilla monster, but he sounds like a Grodd from The Emperor's New Groove?
That would actually have been really funny. Apparently, Mitch Teamley, the writer and director, tried approaching Toho with his script, but was briefly rejected.
Get the fuck out of here. What are you, nuts? Like, this is so insulting. Like, this is
I'm also
somehow even worse than the 1998 movie.
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, Roland Emmerich. Like, this is worse than that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm approaching this from the idea that they had little money, okay, right, which I can relate to.
They also shot it very quickly. It was shot in 19 days, which is kind of impressive in its own way.
Yeah, I mean, so okay, we have little money to do this.
Right.
Why then make it a period piece? Because then you'll just have to spend more money on making period accurate props and shit, costumes and what have you. Why make it a period piece?
No idea.
Just set it in the modern day then. Fuck it.
Right.
Except it's a reference, I assume, to when the first Godzilla movie came out. Probably.
Well, yeah. I think it is supposed to be a reference to, like, at least the Showa era, maybe a little bit into the Heisei era Godzilla movies, you know? I mean, it is mostly Showa because it's also funny, which the Showas are, well, funny in quotation mark. After the first movie, the original one, the rest of the Showa era became sort of more and more silly. Like, that was where Godzilla became the friend of the children, you know?
That's whatever, you know. But that was such a long time ago. But that's kind of my position on it. Like, that was such a long time ago.
Right. And this movie doesn't really do enough to capture that period in a way that sort of makes it worth it.
But even, you know, obviously I would give it a lot more credit if it tried to do that. But even if it did that, I don't know how much we would have appreciated it for it. It's like, oh, we made a parody to a movie series from the 60s.
Right.
Like, who gives a fuck?
If they were able to pull it off, you could at least have sort of said it was a good approximation of what a movie was back then, you know?
It was a good effort.
Yeah, like, it was a good effort of trying to remake a movie style that is like 60 years old, you know?
You know what's a good parody of because a lot of the Godzilla stuff, the people in costumes and that kind of thing,
right?
A lot of it in Japan sprawled into the Sentai stuff.
Yeah,
you know, Super Sentai, which for people who don't know, the footage from that often gets reused in American shows like Power Rangers.
That's where Power Rangers originated.
Yep, basically a producer from Fox Kids, I want to say. No, Saban, who later on went on to make Fox Kids the channel. Basically, they saw Super Sentai, the Japanese TV show, and they licensed it, used the fight footage from it, and then shot a bunch of scenes with
American actors.
No, they were Australian.
Oh, fair enough. But, you know, English-speaking actors.
Yeah, English-speaking actors, and sort of tied a more conventional story together with it. And
do they still do that today?
Oh yeah, Super Sentai has been going for
No, I know Super
decades.
Sentai has still been going, but I'm thinking the more modern Power Rangers stuff.
Yeah,
do they still use?
Yeah, That's basically that's basically the contract behind it. Yeah.
Okay, I thought they went away from doing, you know, taking the Japanese footage and turning it into.
I think what changed is that they shoot more connective tissue in between.
Right.
and also they have a more cohesive connection between the two, as in they talk, the people who make Power Rangers and Super Sentai, they plan things ahead a bit more.
Yeah, so
they don't like oh, this character is all of a sudden blue. Well, fuck. This whole tradition, it was actually parodied quite nicely, I thought, in an anime from Japan called Samurai Flamenco.
Right, yeah, I know that one.
And that one, I thought, captured the vibe of this entire genre of monsters and giant monsters and people who fight them and that kind of thing. But that kind of drives back to my point. This isn't really something that Americans should parody.
I mean, I don't really like saying they shouldn't, but I definitely would be wary of doing it.
I mean, if there would ever be a case for they shouldn't, this movie definitely makes it.
Right, but I will agree that there have been better attempts at parodying or putting a spin on this kind of genre, and Samurai Flamenco is a good version. Another one, which is also an anime, is called Gridman, which is literally like a Super Sentai, like let's have a giant robot that we control fight giant monsters.
But it's a parody.
Yeah, like well, Gridman is an actual Sentai character, I believe, but it's like a reimagining of it. It's a little bit more serious than Flamenco. I mean, Flamenco gets batshit in the end, but it still like puts a twist on it. Whereas this is much more of a parody, like a let's make fun of it kind of.
Well, yeah, but if you're not gonna have good jokes,
I had one giggle in the entire movie.
Hit me.
Okay, so it's when we get introduced to the military,
right?
And they spot Notzilla, and there's a little cut to, they go like, "Oh, there he is," or something like that, and it cuts to an over-the-shoulder shot of them, and he just goes, "Hey!" That
really?
was the only giggle I had.
All
because
right.
he had like the character of somebody who was drunk, and that actually, that was the only version they did that.
I am sandbagging the fuck out of you in this episode. What did you think of the black character?
Was there a
Jesus Christ. Yeah, dog. The Pearl Stringer.
Oh, right.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
That's the name of the character.
Played by Samantha Russell.
Yeah.
I totally forgot.
You know what? I do remember she had one joke. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, she's the reporter, right?
Yeah, who has silly disguises.
Yeah.
She did have one joke that I was like, okay, I don't remember it entirely. It was something. So she's talking to Shirley, and they're talking about how they're both disadvantaged in society, I guess.
Yeah, that like the society doesn't value their contribution because they're women, and
Yeah. Oh yeah, Shirley says something like, "Oh, I'm obviously very smart and very good at atomic weapons or whatever,
right?
But I can't get my due because obviously I'm a woman." Just to sort of rub it in what the point of the movie is. And Pearl Stringer says that, "Well, I know what you're saying. It's even harder for me." And Shirley's like, "Why is that?" And she points at herself, and you think, she's gonna say that it's because of my skin color. And then she says, "I'm from Cincinnati." I thought it was okay. Oh no, it was New Jersey. Okay, never mind.
Never mind. Cut. Please hold.
The movie fucking killed my brain.
Yeah.
Everything is shot on a green screen. Everything.
There's some rear projection as well, but yeah, a lot of it is.
That's a green screen, Daniel. They don't do rear projection. They haven't done that since the 90s.
Then what is the Mandalorian doing?
Fuck you. They didn't use... That's not rear projection. That's OLED screens. They didn't use OLED screens for this.
I know. Steven, I'm joking with you.
Just, it's so painful.
Yeah. Do you think though?
No. Okay. Sorry.
Do you think though that this could work? That there could be made a parody of Godzilla movies, and if so, how?
If it's made by Japan,
Right.
sure. If not, no. Because a lot of Japanese Godzilla movies and media, and in general, Eastern Asian media, has an, if anything, somewhat anti-American slant to it.
Go on.
Fucking Godzilla is a product of,
the atomic bomb.
The atomic bomb. It's, we've seen the 1984 one. There's some resemblance of an indictment of U.S. and in that case USSR interventionism and that kind of thing.
And there are other movies that we're gonna watch that also does that.
Of course. And so it feels kind of stupid to then have the U.S. because the U.S. is never gonna be self-reflexive of themselves because that's how the movie industry doesn't function that way.
At least not in a way that's actually like condemning.
Exactly. Well, you're never gonna see a U.S. movie where they condemn the military.
Right, but I was also thinking, like we were talking about, that one of the few things this movie actually talks about is, the way women and people of color were treated, even though it does it kind of poorly. But it will do it in a way that makes it seem like, oh, look how far we've come. This doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, very pat on the back.
Right.
And
so there is some condemnation, but it's mostly like superficial.
What does that have to do with the parody of Godzilla anyway?
Nothing.
There you go.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, if people, like maybe you get some people who worked on actual Godzilla movies and then they make a parody,
Yeah, like make a Toho do it.
Yeah. Or people who maybe worked at Toho, I don't know.
Right.
And who knows, maybe these things even exist already, probably.
There is probably some. Now that we're talking about it, I'm actually contemplating, could you argue Shin Godzilla is a parody of its Godzilla?
No, I don't think so. I don't think in the sense
not,
that it's not a genre parody, like
right. But it like takes a lot of the aspects that are common in a lot of these Godzilla movies, specifically the government, and then makes fun of it. The whole like prime minister arc is basically just he's an idiot.
Yeah, but I think that if there's a sort of progression towards that with the movies, like you watch 1984, you can kind of draw a line from that to Shin Godzilla.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, they were always kind of working towards, critique of government. Maybe not necessarily critique, but like analyzing in different aspects how the government would tackle the issue of Godzilla. Godzilla is basically a metaphor for anything, right? So environmental threat or military threat.
Shin was created because of 3/11, the earthquake and subsequent Fukushima meltdown.
Yeah, issues with their nuclear plants.
Right, and the way the government is handled in that movie, specifically the prime minister, is because of the actual Japanese government's response. And it is kind of parodied a little bit. We're meant to laugh at it in a way.
Notzilla, that's actually what the fucking creature's called. It's like the suit looks fine.
Yeah, I don't mind how it looks.
Just everything else around it, like you said, is unbearable to watch. And even the scenes with Notzilla, they're not that funny. No. He's just kind of like, oh, isn't it funny that he's drinking beer?
Right. That's why actually, if they had Patrick Warburton to like voice him or something, if he actually could talk, like that would have been funny. If of course the dialogue was well written, but
Yeah. I mean, that's probably why he said no. Well, that and lack of money.
And then they contacted George Takei and was like, "Do you want to voice our drunk not Godzilla?" And he was like, "No." It's kind of funny though that it's a parody of Godzilla and not King Kong.
Yeah, it could have made a bit more sense if it was King Kong.
I mean, I get that Godzilla has a bit more of a like nostalgia feel specifically in the US because there was a lot of like reruns of old Godzilla movies. Like a lot of people grew up watching Godzilla movies in the US, from my understanding. But
you know what you could have just done? What if it's just a monster, and instead of the whole beer thing, he just has a really huge dick.
Why did I know you would say that, Steven?
And it's just destroying cars and shops.
That's too expensive, Steven.
And then people will be like, "No, watch out!" And then a huge shadow eclipses the sun.
So it's basically the tail shot from Shin Godzilla, but instead of his tail,
it's in the front.
It's a giant penis.
And it like once it just smashes on you, like whoa.
Well, you go make that movie, Steve.
I mean, honestly, that sounds to me more funny than this.
So instead of being Notzilla, it would be Notzilla with a U.
And then the creature from the host comes out of the water, and he shoves his face into the monster's penis, because that monster's face looks like a vagina.
Ah.
What did you think of the French lady with the mustache?
That was so weird.
Wasn't it?
I was like, why the actual fuck is this here?
Well, okay, so there's a bunch of tertiary characters,
right,
who are the other scientists that work on.
They work on like a secret nuclear underground government installation.
Yeah, inside of one basement.
Yeah,
and
below Cincinnati.
Yeah, as if we needed more annoying characters. Like half of them, I don't even understand what their deal is. Like whatever.
Like
and
the French woman.
Yeah. No, well, at least she has something resembling something to do. The other ones, I don't even know what the fuck they're doing.
They're just there.
Yeah, there's like a black guy who the annoying scientist man, Ben Shapiro, thinks he's white. Like right. I cannot explain to you. Like, I'm saying this and I'm cringing at me saying it, but this is what happens in the movie. Because he has an Austrian or Nordic or whatever sounding name, fucking Blowhart thinks that he's white.
Right. I can't explain it, Steven. That's
God.
what it is. I'm not gonna defend it.
And then the whole thing with the quote unquote French man. So it's a lady who's very horny. Well, she's also a French woman, which I guess plays into the stereotype of French women being horny or whatever.
Whatever, right.
The whole thing is she's wearing an obvious fake mustache, and she's hitting on all the other scientists because she's horny. And everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
Because they all, it's like the black guy thing. They all think universally, they perceive her as a man.
Right, because she's wearing an obviously fake mustache.
Like there's no doubt in their mind that that's a man, you know? And so they all the actors who she hits on have like this bizarre, confused reaction to it, where they go like, what?
Right.
And you're like, the fuck?
You know what? I actually thought at the beginning of the movie that this is part of why the low budget nature of this thing, that this was literally just like we only have a female actress or a woman, but it was supposed to be a male role, and it was funny to have her play a male character. But then in the end, she of course takes off the mustache and is like, "Hey, I'm actually a woman," and it's like, okay. Maybe it was a joke.
Maybe.
Bad joke.
Maybe.
Or supposed to be a joke.
Maybe it was a joke. That should be on the well, let's be frank, DVD. VHS of this movie. Maybe it was a joke. That could be a good quote to put on there.
Like if Blockbuster still existed, somebody should have get the DVD of this thing and just hide it in a Blockbuster somewhere.
Like, the poster for this movie is so misleading.
Right.
Because it looks actually kind of decent.
Yeah, it looks like a Godzilla poster, kind of.
And then you watch the movie and it's shit.
Yeah. This feels like a very Mystery Science Theater movie. From what I've watched of Mystery Science Theater.
It's not funny bad. Like,
well, okay, it's kind of like a movie that tries to be a Mystery Science Theater movie. Like, it actively tries to, and therefore fails.
What did you think of the message of the movie?
What was the message of the movie? Don't feed your dinosaur beer? Sure. I can get behind that.
You know, now that I'm kind of having a stroke here, but I feel like I'm remembering that there was a point at some level, because the whole thing is scientist man Ben Shapiro is he's under a false identity. He's pretending to be a scientist, but he's actually a failed child actor or something.
Right.
And then the military man is actually like a janitor who's pretending to be a general.
Right.
So there, I feel like that was something.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I don't know, Steven. I got nothing.
I'm so upset with you, Daniel. You've been a very bad boy.
I have.
You've been a very bad boy, and you'll be punished for it in ways that you cannot even imagine.
I still, however, say this was not.
Only Transformers movies from now on.
Oh God, no, no! Please, can we at least just do Bumblebee?
I'm an inventor.
No, not fucking Dick Yeager or whatever his name is.
We're not gonna do it, but we should have a preamble period where we just do Mark Wahlberg movies before we do Transformers movies. 4 brothers.
I mean, Pain and Gain.
No, well,
the only good one. Come on. And it's arguably the only good. Like, is it even good?
No, I mean, it's not. It is and it isn't, I guess.
I still argue it's Michael Bay's best film.
It is. I agree.
And I still don't know if that's a compliment or anything.
Folks, if you couldn't tell, this was very, very bad.
But you can find it on YouTube.
You can find it on YouTube for free, because literally nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't even think the creator of the movie knows this movie exists.
Or maybe he's just there and like, you know what? If people are enjoying it, maybe I can spin that into more money for my next film, which will be the sequel.
Oh no!
It does set up a sequel at the end, kind of.
Oh God, does it?
Well, it shows that there are more eggs.
Oh God, that's the fucking ending to the 1998 Roland Emmerich movie.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Yeah, don't reference that movie. Of all the Godzilla movies,
you could have made fun of it at least, of that movie.
Yeah, like
that's kind of low hanging fruit, but
but instead they went for Showa era, kind of, right?
We should. I vote we slam the door shut on Notzilla on this chapter of our lives, and never
speak of it again.
Never speak of it again.
Except to grade how well I'm doing at picking movies.
I mean, your batting average is terrible, Daddy.
You say that.
And I am right.
Let's have the viewers decide, or the listeners.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to this contentious,
yeah,
volatile, fermented episode of RODANE. But I think we can at least look forward to greater and better things ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Next time we will be doing the 2006 Bong Joon-ho movie, The Host.
Yep.
I guess we're looking forward to completing more of our Bong Joon-ho catalog. We did Mother. We did Host. We're doing The Host.
We haven't done Parasite out of spite.
Spite?
Well, we have a mutual friend who said we should do Parasite so that they don't have to watch it, and we decided not to.
Right. But we have seen Parasite.
We have seen it.
We have seen Snowpiercer.
Yep.
I think the only one that's left, at least for us to watch, is Memories of Murder. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I also haven't seen it.
And Barking Dogs Never Bite, which is his first one.
Oh right, yeah.
But okay, yeah. Next week we're gonna bring you The Host, 2006, directed by Bong Joon-ho. I'm gonna make a prediction. I don't know if this is gonna be a controversial opinion, but I think it's gonna be better than this movie.
I mean, Steven, are you sure about that?
I don't know. I think that Bong Joon-ho and whoever the fuck the director of this other movie is, I'm not gonna bother remembering his name. I'm not committing it to memory. Okay.
You gotta have it tattooed on your forearm.
Clear cash and cookies on this motherfucker. Okay.
So see you next time for
see
the
you
host.
next time, everybody.
See ya.